Welcome back to the Stretford End, everyone. Me, your host, Sashin Johnson, and a very, shall I say, difficult episode today. I do remember going way back at the end of the season, the disastrous season we had. Ronaldo came out fighting, saying that he supports Ten Hag, and as long as the club gives him total support, we can go on to win trophies. And it looked like he was destined to stay for the last year of his contract. But news broke out. Duncan Castles, David Ornstein, Fabrizio Romano, you name it, all have said, and it is true, Ronaldo has asked to leave Manchester United. It's a bit of a difficult one. It is a huge blow for Erik ten Hag and for us as Manchester United. How do we try and remedy this situation? But before I really get into that, there are a few other things that I want to speak about as well. Other news that came through. It's not as big as Ronaldo potentially leaving Manchester United this summer, but there are other things that we can focus on. And on the one side, it's positive. On the other side, it's a bit of confusion. But we need to be realistic. We live in a realistic world where in football, anything is possible. We've seen it time and time again. But subscribe to the channel. Links to our socials in the description. And of course, thank you for joining me today. So, first of all, it has been reported that Gabriel Veron, a 19-year-old winger from Palmeiras, has been linked to us in a £10 million move. And it is said that once we do acquire him, we'll immediately send him out on loan to Sporting Lisbon. Now, these are the type of signings that we should be making. We should be going for players that are, as I said, on the edge of breaking into the top quality bracket and then moving on to becoming world class. And if we are able to sign these players that are wanted by other big clubs, that are young, hungry, wanting to improve and be better, then it improves the Manchester United for the future. But we need to focus on the now. So it's good that we go for such talented youngsters, but we have talented youngsters at the club already now, like a Garnacho, like Shola Shoretire, etc. These are all players that will break into the first team. Anthony Elanga did so last season. But fantastic to hear that we are scouting players outside of Europe and going into the South American range. Furthermore, it was said by Fabrizio that Terrell Malacia will be in Manchester today to do his first part of his medical and then his second part of his medical tomorrow, and then completing his contract signing and official presentation will be done. But I do believe that's going to be done with the kit launch. And I think with Frankie de Jong also, Barca's president Joan Laporte coming out saying that they have no intention of selling Frankie de Jong and they know de Jong's quality and want to keep him at all costs. Professionalism. A couple of weeks back, de Jong was saying that he loves Barcelona and he doesn't know about anything and nobody told him about anything, and as far as he knows, he's staying. It's the same thing Sancho said last season. It's the same thing Dortmund's president said just before he was about to sign for us. There's no way that he's leaving. We want to keep him for a year. We want to stay at the club. It's professionalism. We shouldn't be alarmed by the fact that Frankie de Jong is being said to stay at Barcelona when we know that they need to sell him in order to buy. So let's not worry about that too much. Maybe Barcelona's president is playing us. Maybe there are other clubs that want him, but no other clubs can offer what Manchester United are offering for Frankie de Jong. So Barcelona's president might be playing himself. But in all honesty and fairness, if de Jong doesn't come, that could be the reason why Ronaldo's leaving. It's literally what has been said, that he wants to leave because he feels he still has 2 to 3 years left at the top level. He still wants to compete for titles. He wants to be in a winning team, a team that can compete with top clubs. But he's been very blunt about his feelings. And he feels that the Glazers and the board are not ambitious enough. They don't want to make these signings to make us challenge, to make us compete. They don't want to make signings that will help the manager. He said that, yes, he loves the club. Yes, he wants what's best for the club. But if nobody's backing the manager, he can't do it alone. He needs help. He needs signings. And perhaps this is Ronaldo indirectly warning them that if you don't step up, I will leave. I am your biggest asset. I bring in the most money via sponsorships and shirt sales. I am your marketing tool. Without me, where will you be? We already lost Pogba, and that's another brand that has been lost. We already don't have Champions League. Another reason why Ronaldo wants to leave. Mr. Champions League himself. You cannot blame him for not wanting to play Europa League. I kind of said that don't put him in the squad. Allow him to not be part of the Europa League squad. But why would you have a player like Ronaldo in your team but not have him in the squad? That's absolute nonsense. So if it means that he needs to leave, a lot of people have also been saying that we struggled last season because we were focused on him and building the team around him. But that wasn't the case. If it wasn't for him, he'd probably be fighting relegation. He probably wouldn't even be in the Europa League. So don't disrespect Ronaldo for what he did and what he has done. Respect him for his winning mentality and wanting the club standards to be at the top where it was when Sir Alex was here. He cannot believe how the standards have fallen since he left the club. And the same thing is happening now. When he left the club were not ambitious. And again, it's the same, but even worse. We don't have Champions League. We don't have quality players in yet. Yes, the Real Malaysia has been here. We go by Fabrizio. But we need more than that. Frankie de Jong, yes. Anthony, yes. We need so much more players to fill the holes in the team that we have. We lack quality, not just in the first team, but in the squad. And that in itself is a problem. But Ronaldo sees this. He has to return to training tomorrow, and it is said Erik ten Hag will have a discussion with him and ask him if he wants to honor the year on his contract. Does he want to stay? It's been said he wants to leave. If he leaves, then we'll have to go and splash the cash somewhere else because we will be needing a true striker. Martial is not good enough to start for us. And yes, Ten Hag can do wonders with players, can improve players, but we know Anthony Martial is not a striker. We know that after a few games, in one game exactly, he can easily turn and have an attitude and not choose to run. Now, of course, Ten Hag has said that he will stamp down on any players who want to be toxic and negative towards the dressing room. Fantastic. But it has been seen in previous years that players find a way to disrupt the dressing room. They find a way to show their unhappiness. And where does that leave us as Manchester United supporters? Do we continually back these players who turn their backs on us? Or do we have the mindset of, you're not bigger than the club? And trust me, Ronaldo is not bigger than the club. He's a legend of the club, and we respect him for what he done, and we are thankful for what he did for the club. But we will not stand in his way if he wants to leave. The club have said that they are declined to comment and that they see him as staying at the club and he is not for sale. But if an offer comes in that cannot be refused and Ronaldo wants to go, we cannot force him to stay. We have to then cut our losses and go and get someone that won't replace him, because Ronaldo's irreplaceable. Arguably the greatest player of all time. But we need to have someone that we know will score goals. And who is there that we can get? The striker market is so depleted. There isn't much quality out there. You could go for a Jonathan David, but he wasn't even a second choice target for us, so why would we go for him now? Patrick Schick signed a new contract. Nkunku signed a new contract. Darwin Núñez went to Liverpool. Because we chose not to go and get a striker as an urgency, and we were depending on Ronaldo to stay and him leading the line for us next season, now we are in a predicament. If he leaves, we only have McNeil, Joe Hugel, and Martial as strikers at the club. And that in itself is way, way light. We cannot have such players at the club leading the line. They are too young. You cannot put that pressure on a Charlie McNeil or a Joe Hugel. They need a Ronaldo to look up to learn from, to be an understudy to. And if Ronaldo leaves, Who's going to be captain? Bruno has showed that he can be captain, but he complains more than he actually does. Do you leave it for Maguire? No. Most players don't respect him enough for him to be captain. It's absolutely crazy, and I don't know what the end result of this will be. But as it has been stated, Ronaldo wants to leave because Manchester United, are not ambitious enough. And our lack of signings has really dampened the mood. Now let's wait and see what happens tomorrow when he meets with Ten Hag once he gets to Carrington. But we do know that if he does leave, we only have ourselves to blame. The players have themselves to blame. The club has themselves to blame. They let Ronaldo down. He wanted to achieve so much with Manchester United. He wanted to win trophies last season. But the players turned their back on Rangnick. They turned their back on the club. And thus entirely turned their back on the team. And that is why we find ourselves in the position we do. Now, of course, no Pogba, no Ronaldo, no Champions League. The Glazers are losing money. They're losing their marketing and their sponsorship money. And sooner or later, they'll probably want to sell. And that will be a glorious day. And if Ronaldo's antics what is right now makes the Glazers put the club up for sale, then definitely we have to give credit to Ronaldo for fronting and stating his views and his concerns. Let me know in the comments what you think about the situation with Ronaldo, Barcelona's president, and of course where we're going next in terms of signings. Because a life in the day of a Manchester United supporter, we make a signing and then we hear players are leaving, and the player that we want as a number one target in Frankie de Jong is said not to be coming. It's tough being a Manchester United supporter, but that is why we are Manchester United supporters. It was never easy. Hated, adored, but we are never ignored because we are the biggest club in the world. Thank you guys for joining me in today's video. A bit of highlights. Ronaldo has asked to leave because he feels Manchester United is not ambitious enough. Barcelona's president has said that they will do everything to keep Frankie de Jong, which is only him being professional. And Gabriel Varane, a 19-year-old winger from Palmeiras, is being seen as a target for us, and immediately when we get him, we will send him out on loan to Sporting Lisbon. Much to see on that. Lisandro Martinez, advanced negotiations, but it's all about Ronaldo and him wanting to leave. Subscribe to the channel, please. Our goal is 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. Links to our socials in the description below. That is it, me, Sashin Johnson from the Stretford Inn. Till we speak again soon, Red Devils. Bye-bye.